Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you've had an absolutely fantastic week. Unfortunately, the weather back to its normal Scottish self. It is absolutely soaking outside. We just had Storm Diana roll through and it's kind of just messed up riding for this week. And I can't even get out to a skate park because the Audi that I bought turned out to be a little bit of a shed and I got rid of it before it broke down on me. So I am now without a vehicle, which is highly inconvenient. And the really annoying thing is I just had Mark Westlake, aka Clean Zine, come up. We were gonna go out, get loads of clips, get loads of photos, do a vlog together, and yeah, that just went out the window. We did manage one day of riding. We got 2 riding clips, 3 photos I think at the most. Not the most productive week, definitely not. The fact that Mark was up kind of made me think of an idea. I thought I'd do a behind the scenes talk chat about one of my favourite videos that Mark and I have done, one of the ride inspired videos that we did in Glasgow. So you may have seen I did a similar thing to the Barcelona video that Mark and I did, so it's going to be along the same lines of that. I'm going to watch the video, pause it and let you guys know kind of what went on to make that clip happen. Oh, and before I start that, a few of you probably wondering what's happening with the merch, and thanks so much to all of you who did buy one. They will be with you shortly, probably early next week, so thanks a lot for your patience. To the rest of you who missed out, I'm working on an online shop, a drop shipping type company, so the postage will be a lot cheaper than I could manage it, and I'm trying to work on a few different designs as well, so I will most definitely make an announcement when that is up and running, but until then, yeah, be patient, keep your eyes peeled. So I guess better get stuck into this. I know it's not a riding video technically. I would have preferred to go out riding, but hopefully this will be entertaining and provide some behind the scenes information you guys didn't previously know. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you like this type of thing. And yeah, let's just dive straight into this. Okay, so the famous Anderston Estate. This is one of the best riding spots in Glasgow. It's where everyone wants to go, and yeah, pretty awesome. I had seen this rail line for, you know, a year or so. I'd only been living in Glasgow for maybe 2 years at this point, and yeah, rails are not my strong point. Balance lines are not my strong point. So you may notice there's actually a bit of an emphasis in this video on balance lines. This line was actually filmed halfway through filming, and it took a long time. That rail actually has such a wobble in it as you get halfway. You may notice that my legs start to go nuts. But yeah, took a while. I'm actually pretty stoked to manage to get onto it with no correction hops. That was another thing I really wanted in this video, as few correction hops as possible. Yeah, really starting to wobble in the middle there. Whoa. Pretty stoked. Mark chose a song. He always chooses a song. He normally passes it by me, but I normally just let him deal with it. These days, yeah, it's a lot harder to get music on videos than it was, you know, even only 2 years ago. I can't remember who the name of the track is. I'll put it down there once I've had a look afterwards. And in this clip here, I think I'd gone and broken my brake and I had to go and put on a new lever blade or new brake pads or something. So that's me riding back to the spot from my house, pumping the brakes, trying to get them bedded in again. And again, emphasis on no hops. That's just a line I spotted when we're out riding. Back wheel to rail, drop down, keep on the back wheel up, no hops. It's not the biggest line in the world, but it's a good bit of filler. That line is really big and I still struggle to get up that. Annoyingly, I kind of jumped off the rail a bit awkwardly. Wasn't the most stylish thing in the world, and then I go and do this 180, which is like just such a classic token 180 off a curb that street riders get, you know, mocked for. So I'm a bit embarrassed by that. It would have been really cool if I could bar spin, do something a little bit better than just a 180, but what can you do? This spot is actually near my girlfriend Jane's house. It's in the park. I'd spotted it and I thought that is a Chris Akerig line. So I had to go back there with Mark, and fortunately it was dry enough to actually do it. It's pretty wet in that park, it's quite a bit of a boggy ground. Took a while to get it with no hops, but yeah, absolutely stoked with that. Channeling my inner Chris Ackrig on that one, so yeah, pretty pleased with it. Now that line I'm actually really stoked on. Again, we just went out searching. I had a few places in mind that I wanted to go. I kind of thought, mainly with this one, I wanted to do the bunny hop gap between these two walls, which is I think the next clip. But while we were there, spotted that one, managed to get, again, no hops on it, which I'm absolutely stoked on. I think I have a hop limit whenever I'm out filming. I would have accepted maybe 1 or 2 hops on it, but to get it with no hops, yeah, pretty happy with that. And then back at the Anderston estate, you've probably seen these blocks in loads of my videos and loads of just videos from Glasgow. This line that's about to happen took a long time, and it was pretty much just this first clip that was the time consuming part. I've never been so good at going backwards toward things, so yeah, it took a long time to get this first line, and then the rest of it wasn't so easy either. So this one took a while, but I'm actually really pleased. Again, no hops on this one, I don't think. And I've not done this line since. I definitely need to go and try and gap back across that. This one's just a token gap up to drop, nothing too spectacular. Now this one, again, we just went out searching. I'd kind of ridden past this place before. I didn't have a specific line in mind, but we just went and checked it out. It was on the way to somewhere else anyway. And kind of spotted this, did a little bit of experimenting on it, thought it would be possible, but didn't think I'd be able to do it in, you know, as fewer hops as I'd like, but went and tried it and it actually went okay. So yeah, I really surprised myself with this one. It only took me maybe like a dozen tries or so, and then yeah, again, no hops. Classic bunny hop over a handrail. I really like that line. I've done that a few times. It is pretty scary, but if you can tweak out that back wheel, it looks pretty cool, I think. This line took a lot of goes. It's kind of a combination between a balance line and just being accurate in general. Yeah, essentially hop along those. I think I was just going to hop over, and then someone else suggested perhaps I could go up and manual the rail, but it took a while, but not that long. Pretty pleased with how it turned out. And again, another balance line. My back wheel almost popped off the edge on that one. Managed to get it back. I think I did fall off once and land on my rotor, but it didn't bend too much. But yeah, 1 hop on that one. I would have liked to have done it with no hops, but no, it took a while to get even that one. Unfortunately, these 2 women were walking. I desperately wanted to land the trick, but I didn't want to hit them. I would have normally waited until they passed, but you know, it took me a long time to even get to that point, so I had to send it. Now, unfortunately, this isn't here anymore. They've completely taken away all those handrails, so I can't even try and go back and do that on the Hex. Again, one of these lines that I thought was going to take a long time, and generally catching a manual and hopping out of a manual, not my strong points. But again, I was really happy with how that turned out. Didn't take as long as I thought, and I got it with no hops. So that's actually one of my favourite clips. I really like that one. If I remember how to find your headstone. This one was a bit of a killer. This took at least an hour, maybe 2 hours. I think I was out riding with Danny Duncan on this day, and they ended up going somewhere else just because it was taking so long. I'd have liked to have got the landing a little bit nicer, but you know what, I'll take it. It's not my favourite clip in this video, but I'm happy enough with it. We had a trip to Cumbernauld, had an explore around there, and actually didn't really find that much that was worth filming. I don't know whether I just didn't have enough energy or we just needed to do a specific video there, but we found this banking. I tried to replicate some front wheel spinny stuff that I've done in previous videos. and yeah, I was struggling a little bit. This was the best I could get. I was absolutely knackered by the end of it. This was a line that Mark suggested, a wall ride up to manual to 180, and I'm very particular with manual 180s. I do not allow myself to do any kind of bitch crank. I consider that highly cheating. It does make it a lot harder though. This took quite a long time to land it. Again, it's not the most spectacular clip in the world, but it's a difficult one, and I'm pretty happy with it. The landing could have been a little bit nicer, but you know, I'll take it. Yeah, we just went out exploring. We were on the way to another spot. I suggested I could do a 180 between those, and for such a simple trick, I actually really quite like that one. The motor coach floats upwards, then it's gone. That line, don't think it took that long to do. It's one of those ones you just go somewhere, kind of experiment a little bit, do a little bit of jibbing. I think Mark helped in suggesting a couple of things to do there. And yeah, I don't think that was first try, but I think maybe that was within 5 tries to land that one. So pretty happy with that. Just a nice little line. I actually really like how that line flows. I haven't really done too many, I don't even know what you call them, up to 180 to gap off. Yeah, I have no idea what's called, but not really done too many of those, and I think that line flows really nicely. That's one of my favourite lines in this video. Although I think this is probably maybe my top 1 or 2 lines in this video. Catching that manual from the side up is pretty hard. Unfortunately, there wasn't that much at the end of this line that really, you know, had a decent ender to it, so I had to come up with something, an alley-oop 180 off a curb. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but it's the best thing I could think of at the time. But yeah, I really like that line. I think it goes really well with the song at that point. I actually really like that line as well. Took a long time to dare gap up onto that post because it's a little bit slippery. I've tried doing stuff like that before and just crashed so hard. And it's one of these things, this bridge looks like it should have something to ride, and I've been thinking for ages, how could I ride this bridge and make, you know, just make this line work? And went out with Mark, didn't really have a plan, decided to give that a try, and it worked really well. Got a really cool photo of it as well, so I'm really happy with that line. And that one is kind of just making something out of nothing. That I didn't even know that tree was there, but it was just on the way near a spot. Spotted it, I knew there'd be something to do on it. Again, I wanted to do a no hops, Acker's continual pedal type thing. Previously I'd just done it, just hopped into the banking and out. Mark suggested I should try a 180. 180ing out of a grassy banking, yeah, not the easiest thing, but I think I did that first try, which really, really surprised me. And again, I think that was another suggestion from Mark to do a 180 out of the banking. Again, I was just going to drop into it and out, but I think the 180 adds a little bit more to it, kind of keeps a bit of flow, I think, and yeah, certainly makes it a little bit more difficult. No idea who suggested the 180 the wall ride on the rail. That was horrible. That was terrifying. It was an uphill run up. Had to watch out for cars. I crashed a few times on that. It's just so horrible to do. I was pretty pleased to have landed that. Then I just didn't have to do it again. That is a line I wanted to do specifically for this video. Previously I'd been doing up to fronts and turning the other way, but for that line I made myself do it so it links to the tyre tap nicer, and yeah, I think that works pretty well. Pretty happy with that. That is one of the bigger gaps I can do in Glasgow, and it's pretty scary because you've got to start on a very high, narrow wall. You've got about a 1 pedal stroke, and then yeah, you've got to just send it. And that wall you're landing on has fallen over in the past, and I'm scared will fall over again. I didn't knock it over, by the way. These days, I'd love to do that gap again and then send the second gap after that, now that I can do that on my hex. So keep an eye out for that in a video in the future. Again, just a little bit of a filler, and that at the time was one of the biggest things I could go up to back wheel. I wanted to do something a little bit more than just a straight gap to the box, so I thought just a bit of a manual, try and link it up a bit smoother, a bit streetier. I think it works pretty well, but again, it's not the biggest thing in the world, but it's good enough. This line I am pretty happy with, because that is the most horrible run up in the world. You have to turn a sharp corner, hop onto that wall, avoid the bush, immediately hop up to hook on a slight overhang, so that means your pedals hit a lot easier. And then yeah, there's the big drop down to the side because you've got the staircase going down. Unfortunately, I can no longer do that because they have gone and put a massive fence on the top of that wall, which is really frustrating because there's definitely potential for some bigger, better lines to be done there. Yeah, really annoying. Interesting fact, that line, when I was practicing that before Mark came up, was a line that put me in hospital. And because I bottled the gap up to back wheel, I went to put my foot on the concrete ledge you can see below the rail, missed my foot, sent it straight to my leg and put a massive dent cut in my leg, and I needed quite a few stitches. It was one of those ones that I had to call Jane and say, Jane, I'm hurt, take me to the hospital. And she hates blood. My leg was bleeding like mad. She was very brave. I was a bit braver. And yeah, got a few stitches, and I now have a lovely scar on my leg. I was pretty pleased to have come back and got that, because it was one of those mental issues. It was easy enough to get it, but it was just a scary one, especially when you hop onto the red brick block. You've only hop on for a split second, then you've got to jump off onto the rail. It's quite a quick thinking line, so yeah, I don't know what you guys think about it, but I quite like that line. This line was pretty much the main line I wanted to do in this video. You may have noticed my face there, I didn't look too impressed. This took 3 days to land, mainly because we got kicked off on one day. The second day it started raining. The third day was the last day we could do it. I was absolutely knackered after a few days of filming, and I just had to get it. It was the one line I wanted to get in this video. I wasn't going to be happy if I had to let it go. So it took hours and hours and hours to get it, but eventually this happened. That line was so hard, and again, talking about balance lines, that is something I'd had in my mind for a long time, so I'm absolutely stoked to have got that, and yeah, that is my favourite clip in this video, just because of how much work it took. That line was surprisingly hard because yeah, the red brick wall was pretty skinny. You had to hop off it at a slight angle, so you had to be millimetre perfect. And you had to land on the recycle bin and keep your front wheel high enough to land on the higher point. And then from there, obviously I tried to do it with no or as few hops as possible. So I had to keep composed, land in perfect right spot and go from there. I think I got a couple of hops on it. It took me a long time because I was getting hops, but this was the best we got, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. That line we filmed on the way to the previous tree line that I mentioned. Unfortunately, I can't do this line anymore because they've taken away the phone box, which is really annoying. I think it had potential just to try and keep it all on the back wheel, but yeah, it's not to be. I actually don't really like that line. Not that I don't like how it's filmed, I just don't like my riding in it. That line is sketchy. It's one I kind of had in my mind. It's at the Anderston estate. The thing was, it was a big drop to a sharp edge and I was worried I was going to get punctures. This was before the tubeless days. I was running just standard lightweight tubes or medium weight tubes, and punctures were a real risk. This is a long way from home and I didn't want to have to walk back. So I landed it very much on the flat top rather than on the edge, which then meant I was pretty sketchy trying to hold it. I had to really rely on my brake not slipping out. I was terrified. So I ended up doing it pretty sketchy. I definitely need to go back now I'm tubeless and just boss that with a way better style. That is the other clip we filmed in Cumbernauld, and we didn't really have that down for the ender. We didn't really have an ender as such. Normally there's like one line you think that is spectacular, that's the ender. This one, we used this as the ender just because, you know, it had a fairly decent risk to it. It was a big drop. I'd never done such a big endo drop before, and yeah, it was pretty terrifying. I've managed to get a couple of angles for that to try and show the height and landed it smooth enough. And yeah, that is the ender, and that is the end of the video. So there you go, everyone. That is kind of some behind the scenes information on some of the lines in one of my favourite videos I've done with Mark. Let me know if you'd like some more stuff like this on some of my other videos. I'm not sure quite how interesting it is, but on a rainy day like this, it's better than no video. Next year, I totally plan on traveling more, making some more actual edits, and meeting up with Mark and other filmers. So keep an eye out. Hopefully I'll have some actual edits rather than vlog stuff. That'd be amazing. It's been years since I've had an edit, and I know you guys are asking for it, so yeah, I will try my best. So yeah, let me know what you thought of this one. If you have any other videos that I'm involved with that you'd like to see a behind the scenes type narrative in it, let me know in the comments. But I'm gonna love you, leave you, let you watch the video in full, and I'll catch you next week where hopefully the weather will be a bit kinder and let me go out riding. So take care everyone, ride fluent, and I'll catch you next time. See you later. Time to rest, time to rest.